Welcome back to Reform the LA Way. Joining us now are Principal Esther Soliman and teacher Isabel Morales from the Los Angeles High School of the Arts, also known as LAUSD, part of the Pilot School Network. Welcome.
Thank you, Jorge.
So I'd like to start with you, Ms. Soliman. Tell us what a pilot school program is. We've been raving about them. We've been saying what wonderful success they are. You're a shining example of the type of performance going out in LAUSD. But I've talked to folks about your school before, and they don't quite get it. What is a pilot school program?
Well, pilot schools were originally conceived in Boston about 13 years ago, and pilot schools have 5 autonomies, right? We have autonomy over staffing, over curriculum and assessment, over budgeting, over calendar, and over governance. And to have those kinds of autonomies and that kind of freedom to create the school of your dreams is really exciting and has allowed us to do what we've done these last 4 years.
But I've got to imagine there's got to be some structure or some limit to that type of freedom, because otherwise how do we stop people from creating schools willy-nilly? I mean, there's got to be a little bit more to it, I would imagine. It's got to be harder than that.
It is very hard. It's extremely hard work. And I think that the best thing about pilot schools is the opportunity. I look at myself in the role of a principal as the hub of a wheel. And I get to bring all of these incredible creative forces to the table. And together we work to create something that we have now. So all the teachers to have an opportunity to create curriculum. For teachers to say, I have an idea for a course. What do you think about this? It's really relevant to the students. For students to be able to come up and say, hey, what about this? We would like to learn about this. Those are incredible kinds of opportunities of learning for the kids, to bring that to the table, to have a voice in what they're learning. And for the teachers to have a voice in what they're teaching is probably the most exciting part of being a pilot school. And yes, no kidding, that is a huge amount of work. But when you have a voice at the table, when you have the ability to say, we're going to create something. I just recently, one of our teachers volunteered to use her conference period, and she's doing work study. We've got kids working with Disney. They go on to Disney Studio, and they're filming. Our school has a particular focus on the performing arts. They're filming, and they're editing, and they're learning these incredible skills. We have USC professors working at our school. We have people who are artists working at our school through the CTE program. But there's been, there is no limit to what you can do. We still, of course, have to meet all of the state expectations, but we've done that this year and we've exceeded those. And so that's really exciting. But I think because we're able to bring people's voices to the table and they can be heard.
And Monica, you were talking a little bit about success they were having.
Yes, well, I want to talk about the courage to lead, and I want to ask you to share with us from, I know you were a teacher too, but from a teacher's perspective, why do you want to work harder, and why do you want to be at a pilot school?
I think I only know LAUSD. I've only ever worked with Esther, and she gives us so much freedom to do whatever curriculum I want. I mean, I'm teaching the kids what I need to be teaching them, but she's very supportive. I know that when I speak to all the other teachers, we stay. We don't say, oh, this place is horrible, let us leave. People like working there, and yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's worth it. The students all say that they learned so much. The experiences that they have, their resumes are really, really impressive because they work on the plays or they have these internships, and they're just amazing.
And what do you think makes a difference for, tell me about how many students do you see, how do the students reflect back to you that it's working for them?
Because it's really apparent with students that we have who transfer from other schools. We have one in particular who's gotten involved in all sorts of things, everything we offer in the plays and the internships and different things. And he's said, I've learned so much here. I think I've learned more in these couple of months than in the 3 years at my other school. So that's very rewarding.
I'd like to jump in. I had a chance to visit LAUSD before you made your big move to the new campus. I'd like to hear about that a little bit. But one of the things that struck me when I went and talked to some of the teachers, I had to come back and say, what are they, what Kool-Aid are they drinking from? Because they all said the exact same thing, just what you said right now, how much they loved it. Some of them said, don't tell her, but I'd volunteer, even if they didn't pay me. And I was going back and I was telling folks, and they were saying, well, what's going on? There's something, is it just another charter? You're not a charter. I mean, that's what people kept saying to me. Well, it just sounds like it's just another charter. And of course they like it because they have all this freedom.
Esther, why do they like it?
Well, they like it, I think, because they do have all the freedom. I'm just going to give Isabel as an example. She came forward and she said, I'd like to do the yearbook class. Great, wonderful. She went out, wrote a grant, got it, brought the money in. They're doing amazing things. I want to take the kids to Washington, D.C. They should see how our government works. She's our government teacher. Boom, she does it. She takes 20 kids off to Washington, D.C. So it's really exciting to have that kind of synergistic effect. People are creating, people are you know, I'm doing the hold the line from all the bureaucratic, but I've got to say, LAUSD has been extremely supportive in the pilot school movement. So it's been great to be able to say, we want to do this, and HR comes and says, okay, we'll help you do it. Or we want to do this, we talk to you, and Monica goes, okay, we're going to make this happen.
And how is it with 6 schools on one campus? What's that like?
I think it's really exciting. I think it's stimulating. I think, you know, when you only have 425 students, it gets a little, you know, small. So we have the best of both worlds. We have our own independent school, and I love that. But yet our kids can participate in group sports. They can participate in certain activities like the talent show that we're going to have. They can participate in student government that we have across the 6 schools. So it's really exciting. There's an after-school program. All the kids can be involved in that. So it has the best of both worlds. And I think because the other schools have the same kinds of intentions that we have and the same kinds of visions, that it works really well. I mean, you're talking with very dedicated teachers. I'll stay till 6, 7 at night, and there's a slew of teachers still at the school. So and it's not that they're forced to do it, it's they have a desire to be there. And when they see the kind of effect it has on the students, it just creates this continual effect.
And it's kind of crazy to be in 2011 and be sitting here with our very successful principal, Esther Solomon, because I met you as a Belmont teacher who was really pissed off at the system.
Yes, I was.
Tell us about the changes that you've seen in the Belmont community.
Well, I've been teaching for 32 years, most of them in LAUSD. And I just was so angry, and I was telling Isabel as we were waiting in the other room, and I was saying, I really, you know, we didn't have the freedom to do things. It was always this no, no, you know, it was, you know, no, we can't do that. And it was always these strictures, and I couldn't understand why not. Why can't we go beyond these limitations? And to have people who now say, what do you want to do? Well, we want to do linked learning now. Go for it, you know, and to have the kind of support monetarily, staff-wise, it's really exciting.
So speaking of dollars, do you get more dollars because you're a pilot?
No, and I think this is really important to understand. I think people think, oh, you do these great things because you get more money. No, we don't at all. What we do get is the autonomy to decide how that money gets spent. And we sit together, parents, students, teachers, and talk about it and decide our priorities. One of the priorities is that we want to have a small classroom size. We don't want to have 40 kids in a class. We know the difference it makes. So most of our classes are sitting at 20 to 25 students per teacher. And you know, that's when you can really do some quality teaching. But the ability to have the autonomy over budget is really essential. The school gets to decide what are our priorities, what is our vision, and how do we make that happen.
So tell me, what's the trade-off if to have 20, 25 kids in a class? What does that mean?
A very skimpy office. I'm the only administrator, and teachers voluntarily take on many, many more duties than a typical teacher does. But they, you know, this is the trade-off. I'd rather have a small class. I think Isabel can speak to this. I'd rather have small classes and do the other kind of elements that have to be done. I'm happy to be in, you know, run clubs. I'm happy to run committees. I'm happy to help decide, you know, look at this curriculum or do these kinds of things.
And at the end of the day, can you tell us about the relationships that happen there at the campus? We heard from the students like it. They're learning a lot. You as a teacher, how are you able to relate with the kids?
I think the students themselves say, I'm really happy I'm here. Sometimes, you know, they're community kids. We don't get to choose our students. It's the kids that are in the community. And so sometimes they don't have the best grades, but they say, you know, please work with me, because I know that if I go to a big school, I'll just get lost. Like, you know, I'll slip through the cracks. And here, we don't let them.
Why not?
Because it's such a small school that I'm the only 12th grade social studies teacher. And so everybody knows that they can talk to me about how they're doing in that class.
And how do you work with the other teachers to meet the needs of the kids who maybe need extra help?
We work really closely. One of our freedoms or autonomies is that we get to, you know, schedule ourselves in ways that work for us and the students. So me, the 12th grade English teacher, and we have a common conference period. So we're able to use that time when we work very closely together to develop curriculum together, to talk about students, to, you know, resolve any issues that might arise.
Yeah, one of our UTLA leaders said to me, I just went to that Kennedy campus. All the teachers are so happy. They're working hard, Monica, but they're very happy. Do you feel that for the teachers, they'll be willing to see more pilots? Would you think more people would be interested in those autonomies?
I think it works for us. I think we like having the freedom to decide what are issues for our school and how can we resolve them. Mm-hmm. And I think other teachers might also like that, like having a voice at their schools.
Yeah.
Let me ask, we were talking about students and how you have that relationship. The one thing that struck me when I was at the campus, when you're still at Belmont, was even though they were part of a number of campuses, how much they identified with LAUSD, and they felt like, you know, everybody knew them. Is that, I'm hoping, translating into achievement? When I was there, I remember you were celebrating your wonderful API achievement. Is that still the case?
Yes, well, we did make our API and our AYP this year, which was very exciting. But even more exciting than that, those are numbers and figures, is another figure, though, that was important to me was a 92% graduation rate. Wow. You know, we really want to strive, as Monica said, 100%. You know, we shouldn't accept anything less than that. And I just want to comment on what Isabel was saying about, do we communicate with each other about the kids? Yes. There's emails that go around all day long, and there's meetings that happen, and we've got to schedule a parent conference, and all of the teachers of that child come forward and have a meeting and talk with the parents and problem solve. And you know, those are the really exciting things that happen. We're doing linked learning now, so we get to see projects that the kids do and create, and programs and videos, and the creation part. I think that's what frightens me about the standardized testing, is that we're not really addressing students' creativity. And I really think in a pilot school, you can bring that to the forefront. And the projects and the products that they create are so exciting and stimulating and real world that I think these kids are going to be at an advantage when they graduate.
Well, go ahead, Monica.
I want to know what is it going to take to get to the 8% additional graduation? Just what are the three things as we wrap up?
I think just the continual caring about the kids and the continual coming together, parents, student, teachers, and everybody else to support those kids.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love it. I'm so glad that we have real models of what's working for our kids. And I think there is a lot of change happening in LAUSD. And so I want to thank you, Jorge. Thank you, Principal Solomon. Thank you, Ms. Morales. And thank you for joining us. The great work being done at our pilot schools is just one example of the reforms taking place in the Los Angeles Unified School District. To create the best educational opportunities for our students requires all of us to do our part. If you want to learn more about the reform efforts taking place or contact me, visit lausd.net. I'm Monica Garcia. Together we will reform education and make LAUSD the best district for all of us.